Stop listening to productivity gurus on social media whose daily to-do list consists of 11 a.m. Pilates, matcha, nails, and then maybe upload a YouTube video all about how busy and productive their day was. They will tell you that the secret to productivity lies in a meticulously organised planner or daily journaling or answering your emails on the treadmill, but personally, I cannot remember the last time I walked on a treadmill. I've never journaled, and I have a drawer specifically for planners where I completed one day and then never touched it ever again. Yeah, I'm a doctor who works full time, and I wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning to work 2 hours before work and then 2 hours after, all so I can continue building my six-figure business that I started in medical school. So I don't want to toot my own horn, but even though there are no meticulously organised planners in sight, I would say I'm pretty productive. And these, my friends, are the 3 principles that I have solidified over a decade to live a life that I never could have dreamed 10 years ago. Starting with the Anti-Marthon Club. Recently, it was the London Marathon, and oh my god, what a wonderful feat to be able to say that you have done a marathon, and allegedly you're part of only 1% of the world's population who have completed a marathon. I doubt it will still be 1% after the 2025 London. However, just because every Tom, Dick and Harry are running a marathon, it doesn't mean that you should too. If you're really struggling to motivate yourself to exercise and you want a goal to work towards and you just want to get into running, then of course signing up for a marathon is an incredible idea. But it's also a huge time commitment and definitely not a good idea if none of those goals remotely resonate with you. Productivity is different for everyone, and I think the biggest mistake that I see made on social media when it comes to productivity is everyone just following a trend of what they think they should be doing. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for you to understand what it is that you personally want to achieve. And that might sound really obvious, but actually it's not. To me, what productivity has always meant, and I think should mean to everyone else, is making the most out of the least amount of time. If you have an exam to study for, using methods to study for that exam that mean that you can get out of the library and be with your friends as soon as possible. Or if you're training for a marathon, incorporating interval training into your training plan because it's a training method proven to increase your running speed really efficiently. If you want to get ahead in your career, network with people more successful than you and ask them what they did. But don't just do habits just because everyone else is. If you're not familiar with the 80-20 rule, then let me introduce you. The 80-20 rule is a theory that 80% of your output comes from 20% of your input. And I think it's a really good way to simplify and stream down our lives when maybe we feel a little bit overwhelmed by pressures and what we think we should be doing. Focus in on 2, max 3 activities that are going to help you reach each goal. If you're studying for an exam, flashcards and practice questions. If you're trying to grow a YouTube channel, filming videos and editing videos. If you're trying to run a marathon, running and conditioning. If you're trying to get to bed earlier, reducing screen time and making sure that your room is cold before you get into bed. Everything really is so much simpler than we're led to believe, and all the noise and the pressure of what we should be doing can be so distracting when it comes to being productive and achieving our goals. If there's one thing that you take away from this video, it's to focus in on the things that are actually going to get you there, not what other people say that you should be doing. Principle 2, the driver's seat. My mum's part of a big Irish family, and I was recently in America for a big family wedding, and one night I was feeling a little bit unwell and my cousin offered to drive me back to where we were staying. Now immediately as we're walking to the car, I knew that my cousin was driving, I was going to be the passenger. I walked to the driver's side. I'm not saying that I'm unique in any way, shape or form. I think that most of us who've been abroad and got into a car where the driver's seat is on the other side, so the one that we're used to, has done the exact same thing as me, where you walk over to the side that you're used to, because it's so ingrained in our muscle memory, we don't even think when we do something every single day, week, even month, for years and years and years and years and years, our brain does this really amazing thing where it creates a shortcut to save us time. Imagine if every time when we walked out to the car, we had to consciously think, what side am I getting into? Over the course of years and years and years, our brain has saved us minutes, hours, even days of our life just by finding these shortcuts and creating these actions that are so ingrained in our muscle memory. When we create habits, this is exactly what we do as well. It's just super unsexy when we talk about it in relation addition to brushing our teeth or washing our hands after we've had a wee. But suddenly it's so much sexier when we're talking about journaling or drinking our daily greens or getting our 10,000 steps in. But it's exactly the same thing. The easiest way to be more productive without even trying is develop these habits so that you literally don't even have to think, you just do. For example, in the same way that when I leave for work in the morning, I grab my coffee, I walk down the stairs, I walk out to my car and I don't even think, I just get in the driver's side. When I wake up in the morning, I go have a shower, I then walk to the kitchen, I make my daily greens, and then I sit down at my desk. In the same way that when I walk down to my car and I get in the driver's side, I've done it so many times I could probably do it with my eyes closed. I could probably walk to the shower and make my daily greens and then sit down at my desk with my eyes closed too. One of those habits is super unsexy, just part of my daily mundane, and the other habit is something that I have intentionally created so that I can be productive and achieve what I want in my life. When you want to integrate any habit into your life, do not just focus on the single habit. Look at the before and after and optimize so that you create a sequence of events that, when initiated, just falls down like a domino and you don't even have to be motivated or disciplined or use any of your energy whatsoever. 3, the critic versus the carer. So this is probably the principle I've developed most recently, and I've definitely learned the hard way. I want to take you back to Faye, maybe 3-4 years ago, when I just started putting videos up on YouTube. I always thought to get into my productive girl era, I needed to beat myself up. I needed to compare myself to others and use that as motivation to force me out of my hovel, get me off the sofa and get me to my laptop doing something. When in actual fact, I found that when I was comparing myself to others and focusing on my failures and beating myself up, I felt so paralyzed by guilt that the last thing I would want to do is a task that would remotely benefit me in any way, shape or form, because I didn't think that I deserved that. When I'd compare myself to other people and be so critical of myself, I fed into this self-image that I had of myself, that I was lazy, that I was unproductive, I would never be successful and I would never be as good as everyone else. And that didn't motivate me to get off my ass. It took me way too long to realise that, but I have found that I am so much more productive when I focus on these 3 things. Daily gratitude. Non-negotiable. I have a daily gratitude group chat that I have with some of my friends that we set up when some of us were going through a difficult time and we wanted to hold each other accountable to practice daily gratitude and focus on the positives in our life when everything seemed to be going tits up. I've never been someone who's been able to stick to a journal. I am still trying. Maybe I will one day and I will keep you updated. But this was just a fun way for me and my friends to share our daily gratitudes, hold each other accountable, and it was quite nice because we got to catch up on each other's days as well. 2, celebrating the small wins. At the beginning of the video, I said that I do 2 hours of work before work and 2 hours of work after work. I am much better at sticking to the 2 hours before work than I am the 2 hours after work, because after work I'm exhausted and sometimes I get home and work has been so full on emotionally, physically and mentally draining that I cannot bear to even think about editing
a silly little video for YouTube.
And where previously I would beat myself up about that and that would lead me to staying in my hovel on the sofa, now I tell myself, look, you may not get your 2 hours of work done, but if you get even 5 minutes done, you're making life just that little bit easier for future Faye, and that is a win in itself. As the saying goes, just by getting out the door and going for a run, you are lapping everyone on the sofa. 3, celebrating others. How we speak about others is often how we speak about ourselves. I've noticed the times in my life when I've felt lowest and probably most jealous of other people is when I'm the most judgmental about other people, and often the monologue that I have in my head about others and what sometimes I would say out loud is the same as what I was saying about myself. But when we treat others with kindness and tolerance and admiration, we are practicing the skill of giving all those things to ourselves. Here is a video all about 10 healthy habits that I've incorporated into my own life to work around a busy schedule, and here is a recent vlog if you want to see a little bit more of my life. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah! And where previously train